Dominic, Tyler, Matt, thank you all for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible conversation ahead here on the show. But Paul, take us back to the beginning for you, where it started for you, your fandom with NASCAR, motorsports. Where did all that initially pique your interest?
Well, for starters, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. So the first drivers that I ever heard of were like Rusty Wallace and Kenny Schrader and all of those guys. I would say my first time watching NASCAR, I remember it actually. It was the 2001 EA Sports 500 at Talladega. So obviously, Talladega holds near and dear to my heart. It was the first race I ever watched, and yeah, I've just loved it ever since. I mean, going down the toy aisle, it's amazing what one small purchase of a diecast car will do to a kid and shape the rest of their life. And that's what it did for me. Um, it I loved the video games, the PlayStation 2, NASCAR '06 Total Team Control, all of that. And eventually it led to me making stop motion animations and uploading them to YouTube.
And you were a big part of that pioneer day too, 2008, 2009, when that community was starting to form and really take its shape. Matt and I were part of that as well. Carson Hocevar was a part of that as well. Raja Caruth is well involved with it. So really cool that the stop motion thing really got to blend the passion of motorsports and really set the trajectory, I think, for a lot of people in this industry.
Yeah, I would say it's really cool you mentioned both Carson Hocevar and Raja Caruth. Um, Carson Hocevar, he really liked that series that I did, and unfortunately, I never can find the files anymore because that particular channel doesn't exist. I still have a lot of the older stop motions, but he really liked the From Trucks to Cup videos that I did way back in the day. So, ironically, as fate would have it, in 2022, 2023, whatever year it was that Chase Elliott got suspended, I was there at in the infield at St. Louis, and I got to catch Carson right before. We had a brief Twitter interaction before that, and I went up to him, and I actually had one of the die casts from that stop motion in my pocket. I wanted to bring it for him, knowing that he would be there. He was going to be there in the truck race anyway. So I brought that for him, and ever since then, he and I have been cool ever since. He calls me a stud. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're the stud now. So it's just super cool. And Raja too. I've given him a die cast as well. How big that community has just grown. There's other drivers too, I'm sure, that have watched those stop motions, and it's been a part of their childhood and a part of their life now.
It's crazy. You talk about that, Paul, and kind of where everything started and how a purchase of one diecast can change somebody's life and trajectory, Um to be honest with you, I was kind of in that same boat. I mean, obviously I've talked to you guys about how I got started because my parents brought me home a Jimmy Johnson diecast with SpongeBob on it. So it's just, it's crazy how literally the purchase of one diecast can change the trajectory of somebody's life. And I know just from walking around with you at the track, I mean, how many people did we run into and know that had either sim raced or done stop motions? I mean, there was just a ton of people in the industry at the Arca East race even earlier this year.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy how many of those people that like we've sim raced with, that we've been in communities with, that have kind of blended into what our dreams were as a kid. Like if we could go back in time and tell 12-year-old us that someday we'd be in the same place as some of our heroes, like that would be crazy. But as life would have it, it just happened, and I'm so grateful that a lot of people that we know, whether we're still connected or not, have that opportunity now to live out their dream, and myself as well.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun being a part of that community, and I look at like our time doing that when what our era was. We were maybe like those first generation of these NASCAR stop motion makers, and I'll be the first to say mine were not the best. They were very choppy, but where I could make up for it was putting in graphics with Photoshop and stuff. So I felt like I could compete with the likes of Paul and Matt and Xander and all these other cool people that got to do the stop motions, but only because I could do some stuff on the back end of things. I think I got a little lazy with some of the filming, but nonetheless, it was a great community, and it evolved into sim racing in the early 2010s. And just it's crazy how that community just snowballed from there. And there's so many people that stay in touch from it. In fact, you hear Carson Hocevar say many of his friends, kind of what Tyler was talking about earlier. He's not friends with any of the racers. He brings his friends to the racetrack. And a lot of those friends we know mutually. There's a lot of stop motion makers and there's a lot of sim racers that are friends with Carson Hocevar from that community.
Yeah, during the Dale Jr. download that he was on, I would want to say a year ago, there were a few names that he name dropped. And I was like, I've raced with him. I know him. Like it is crazy, but there's also many others as well. I mean, Matt, you and I, we connected with Brad Perez at Kansas, and he was doing tires for Cletus. I mean, that's just crazy. And his opportunity now, he'll be racing at Texas. So yeah, it is wild how the trajectory from us playing with our die casts on the ground, making them out of like pizza boxes or cardboard from Michael's or anything like that, how that trajectory, and also to well, the game NASCAR Racing 2003 season, how that has just evolved into what it is now.